Sin City Submission Series is proudly brought to you by CBD Health Solutions, injitsu.com, Impact Dental Designs NYC, and Zebra Mats. Train with confidence.
We got Manny Moreno versus Christos Papadelos. And Christos was the other competitor, along with Manny, who entered both 155 and 175 pound divisions.
Monsters.
So this is actually in the 175 pound bracket. Christos had a bye in that bracket, and that put him into the quarterfinals against Manny, who defeated Ryan Ruiz by submission.
That's pretty dope, dude. And I like the fact that both of these guys now have the opportunity to advance. So one of the two who's going into two divisions gets the opportunity to go forward.
That's correct. And so right now, the winner of this match would actually face PJ Barch in the semifinals of 175 pounds. So it's a pretty competitive match for both of these guys. They both know that there's a lot on the line here. Again, Christos Papadelos coming off of that submission win in the first round of 155 pounds against Bendy Casimir, taking his back. That was a great submission victory. Just showed a lot of patience, and that's what we're seeing in this match too. I expect Manny to show respect to Christos after seeing that display, and also Christos playing his game. He doesn't want to switch it up. He's doing well. Here he is again, sitting on his butt, but backing his opponent into the cage, using just some setups for Imanari's. Manny doing a smart move there and recentering himself back to the middle of the cage. But I noticed this from Christos that night. He really worked on backing guys into the cage to set up Ashi entries. And I think that's a great strategy. And there you go. You see an Ashi entry off of the shin to shin. He's maybe going topside X. He doesn't find his entry, so he ends up just kind of staying back. And that's one thing I noticed. Christos tested the parameters over and over. Okay, I'm going to set it up like this. He's going to defend. I'm going to make that defensive read. And then he's going to go ahead and recalibrate from there.
And I want to credit Manny, too. Manny for recognizing very quickly, like, no, let me do this on my terms. I'm going to step out, go right back into the action. I see that you have a good shin to shin here.
Yeah, and that's key critical reading of these high level guys, and there you see Christos just trying, I think, make action happen by inverting on that Imanari, just to kind of see if I can get an arm entangled or a leg entangled to try to get underneath Manny's hips. Manny's finding those double unders and pushing around. He's just being real strategic, guys. And I think when you're not sure of a guy's ability, like maybe, these two don't know each other. They're on complete opposite ends of the coasts. They're different belts, and they're not really in the same scene all the time. So, when you don't really know who you're competing against, take some time to feel it out.
Absolutely. And I mean, again, we want to credit both of them for taking risks on themselves, because that's the kind of thing that you really do hope for. I mean, nobody wants any dropouts whenever they're promoting an event. I'll say that as somebody who's done that myself. But if you're going to have dropouts, you want people like them who are going to pick up the slack.
Yeah, and that's always one of those things you're going to have to deal with as a event promoter. Right here, we're seeing a couple of little palm strikes that kind of went into the eyes. It wasn't actually his fingers. It was Christos just kind of palming the forehead of Manny, and the palm was hit Manny in the eyes a couple times, so we just gave him a second.
It's all about those gloves. They got to change those gloves. Oh, wrong sport. Anyway.
Wrong sport. Anyway.
Sorry about that, guys.
But Manny's okay, and they're going to go ahead and resume action here. Yeah, again, with the dropouts, you just got to be ready for anything, and, there was definitely a lot of things on this event.
We also want to give a big shout out to everybody who confused me as the mainstream for Sin City Submission Series.
Shout out to Raph for taking most of the heat for me. I mean, I'd say I appreciate it, but I feel like he deserves more. So you guys need to step that up.
Here's the worst part, though. Everybody who tried to heckle me, who didn't know me, quickly found out about me. So it was very fun to watch people go, "Why are you making fun of me?" I feel bad about myself.
Yeah, you guys better realize.
Speaking of which, though, talk me through this, sir.
Here we go. We're seeing a little leg action here. Manny kind of instigating, and Christos looking to defend. Again, Manny, no stranger to the legs. He's no stranger to no gi. He's no stranger to heel hooks. But I think Christos, this is where his game wants to be. He wants to be engaged here. Now we see a little backstep action. into the inside Senkaku. And, this is where Christos makes his action happen. Looking a little control here. And that leg is basically, you're like in a reverse half guard at this position because Manny went ahead and switched his feet. So he's not really in big attack mode. Christos on top is looking to maybe get that underhook. He's got the arm on the opposite side of Manny's head. And he's looking just to kind of control Manny, looking to create some elevation here and get under, back to the closed guard that go.
I mean, one of the things that we're now seeing is both of them had time to kind of feel each other out. And as we are starting to tick down a little bit on the times,
TP squeeze there.
That's what I noticed when I watched that live feed. I was like, listen,
that was mean.
Hey,
there's a body triangle.
I mean, I'll tell you this much, man. When you are competing, everything's fair game.
There was actually not quite a bit, but there were some matches where some guys were getting a little jolly with each other. A little shit talk was going on. I think. And here we go. Little setup here, feet on the hip action. Let me see what Christos can do here. And Manny's setting up that high rubber guard.
Yep.
He's going to look like attack that omoplata. Christos is in defense. And we see a nice high guard from Manny, and he's pulling all the way out. Christos escapes that one.
I did like his read on it to start backing up both his body and his butt. Like, that little movement seemed to break a little bit of that.
Yeah, it looked like it definitely helped his escape, and that's critical.
Now, again, both of them kind of at this point of saying, all right, listen, you clearly are game enough for 2 divisions. I'm game enough for 2 divisions. At this point, I'm kind of throwing out things. I'm trying to see what works here. You're probably still getting a little bit frustrated because at this point you probably figured all right, my A game isn't working. You might be out about C or D game.
Yeah, and I mean, you can kind of see the action is kind of in that range where Manny doesn't, he doesn't want to give up too much getting in there. Christos, again, hitting that rear naked choke in the first round, and Manny hitting that flying arm lock in the first round of 155. Both those guys were super impressive. This is Manny's 3rd match at this point because, again, this is a 175-pound bracket.
Right.
And Manny had already beaten Ryan Ruiz. So this was his 3rd match. He had 2 submissions wins already before this. And, maybe that is playing a factor in his decision to kind of take his time and play low. You see he's sitting on the heels here. He's not going to let Christos really get under him. And, you're back to that mercy action. And that's going to be the time on regulation. So we're going to go to the coin flip.
What kind of coin we got there? You got one of those American silver dollars?
No, it's a badass Oracle coin. I'll have to show it to you. It's pretty cool.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. And so we went ahead and elected Christos is going to start on the back here in the over-under position. Manny's got his defensive hands in. And we're getting ready. Going to say 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to take my knee off their back, and they are live. Manny trying to get that head to the floor. Christos doing a great job of controlling, and again you see that hook in the center of the legs, and I think that is a strategic advantage when you start on the back. You want to get that body triangle number 1, and then you want to go ahead and try to control the hips with it. Manny doing really good staying off of here, but Christos's back control is insane. It is so tight. He knows how to control the ride time. And I think specifically Christos is over the hips of Manny, like a little bit below the belt line, not where the love handles are, a little bit below that. And I think that's making an advantage and keeping Manny's knees kind of close together. You can see his legs aren't very wide right now defensively. And I think that's preventing a lot of this power bridging. You see he's pushing down against it. And that may lead to a choke at some point. We got Christos with the double unders, and now he's going to start attacking the neck.
Well, we've seen what the power of controlling that hip can do, even with Mason Fowler and Craig Jones. That is one of the things that Craig was having problems with. Mason was putting a lot of pressure where the center of that body triangle is.
Right, and that again, contributes to fatigue and everything else. It's going to take its wear and tear on you. And Christos is just staying tight and looking to lock in that rear naked choke. He's got an arm over the neck, and he is squeezing. He's going to goon choke him right here, and he gets that tap. Great
Nicely done.
Face squeeze. I'm a fan personally. Listen, if you tuck your chin and expect someone not to choke it, you're in the wrong sport, But, Manny knows that as well, and he put up a lot of great defense leading into that. So he's going to get his rebuttal and start on, I believe he actually ended up choosing, he chose armbar.
I really like the fact that You very quickly move them like that.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? I've reffed enough at this point where I don't wait for people, and I just got to do what I got to do. You know, I wear a lot of hats when I put these on.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of shit, and you know, I just don't have time to waste. So we know how to get it going.
I got it, man. I was definitely appreciating what you were doing while we were
Christos with that
watching
grit, and there he is with the
out.
escape.
Wow.
Man, that hitchhiker, I tell you what, the RGA guys are masters of that hitchhiker escape. Gary Tonin setting the precedent for that years ago, and man, these guys are so good. Christos beats his second black belt of the day. What an impressive start for the Purple Belt from Ocean County, BJJ, Tom DeBlass.
It's good stuff. What do we got coming up next?
Let's see here. So that actually puts Christos in the semifinals of the 175-pound bracket.